The alien child sat alone near the broken edge of the old station. Cold metal stretched in every direction, dark and silent. No ships came here anymore, and no voices answered the long nights. This place had once been full of warriors, banners, and fire lights. Now it was only dust, shadows, and a child too young to remember peace. His species was feared across the galaxy. They were known as fierce fighters who never lost a war. Other races whispered their name with fear and respect, but the child did not feel fierce. He felt small, cold, and forgotten. The war had taken everything from him. His parents were gone. His home was gone. The training halls were empty, the elders silent forever. He had been left behind during the last evacuation. No one noticed a child hiding under the fallen steel. He survived by staying quiet. He learned which pipes still gave heat. He learned where small food packs floated after battles. Every sound made his body tense. Every shadow looked like danger. The child believed one thing very clearly. The galaxy was cruel. Kindness was weakness. And strangers always brought pain. He had heard stories about humans. The elders called them unpredictable. Some said humans were weak and emotional. Others warned they were dangerous in strange ways. The child never expected to meet one. On this day, the station sensors flickered once. A soft hum passed through the walls. The child froze and pulled his knees closer. Someone was near. Someone was alive. He pressed himself against the metal floor. His small claws scratched old burn marks. He tried to slow his breathing. Warriors learned this skill early. Fear could get you killed. Footsteps echoed through the broken hall. Not heavy like armor. Not sharp like soldiers. Light steps, unsure, curious. The child lifted his head just enough to see. A human child stepped into the light. Smaller than most warriors. No armor, no weapon. Just soft clothing and wide eyes. The alien child did not understand this. The human child looked around slowly. He did not shout or threaten. He did not run. His face showed wonder, not fear. That made the alien child uneasy. They stared at each other across the quiet floor. Two children from opposite sides of the galaxy. Both taught different lessons about survival. Both alone in their own way. Neither moved for a long moment. The alien child expected pain. He expected a trap or a trick. That was how the galaxy worked. He prepared to flee if needed. His heart beat fast against his chest. The human child took one careful step forward. Then he stopped. He reached into his pocket slowly. The alien child tensed. Weapons came in many shapes. Instead, the human pulled out a small toy. It was simple and worn. Bright colors scratched and faded. Something made to bring joy, not harm. The alien child had never seen such a thing. The human child placed the toy on the floor. He pushed it forward gently. Then he stepped back again. No words were spoken. Only the quiet hum of space listened. The alien child did not move. His mind raced with warnings and rules. In his culture, gifts carried meaning. They were never simple. They always demanded a response. He watched the toy closely. It did not explode. It did not move on its own. It just sat there waiting, bright and strange in the dark hall. The child felt something new inside him. Not fear, not anger. Something softer and confusing. A feeling he had no name for. Something the wars had never taught him. The human child smiled softly. Not a victory smile. Not a mocking one. Just a quiet hope. Then he pointed at the toy and nodded. For a moment, the galaxy held its breath. No fleets moved. No weapons charged. No leaders spoke. Only two children decided the next step. Before the alien child could reach out, a warning light flickered deep in the station. Old systems began to wake. Signals stirred where none should exist. The child did not know it yet, but something ancient had just been touched. Before we continue the story, dear listener, if you enjoy slow builds, deep mystery, and human strength shown through kindness, please gently tap the subscribe button and stay with this channel. The greatest moments are still ahead. The alien child looked from the toy to the human again. His claws hovered just above the cold floor. One small choice stood before him, and the galaxy would never be the same. The human child did not understand why the air felt heavy. He only knew this place felt sad. Broken walls, dark corners, and silence pressed on him. It reminded him of places where people used to live, and then suddenly did not. He had followed his father's survey team without permission, not because he was brave, but because he was curious. Humans had always been like that, curious even when they should not be. The station was marked as abandoned, safe enough for scans. No life signs detected. At least that was what the adults believed. The human child believed something else. He believed empty places still remembered people, and where memories lived, someone might still be hiding. That thought made his step slower, not faster. He was careful, but not afraid. Fear was not the first lesson humans learned. When he saw the alien child, his heart jumped, not with terror, but with surprise. The alien looked small, alone, and cold, very different from the monsters in old stories. The human child stopped moving at once. His father had taught him one simple rule. If you meet something unknown, do not rush, do not shout, and never point anything sharp. So he stood still, hands open, empty, visible, breathing slow, eyes soft. He did not know alien laws, but he understood fear. The alien child looked ready to run, muscles tight, eyes wide, like a cornered animal. The human child remembered feeling like that once, during a night storm back on Earth. That memory pushed him forward, not with his feet, but with his heart. He reached into his pocket, fingers brushing the small toy he always carried. A gift from his mother. The toy was nothing special, just a small figure with chipped paint. But it meant comfort. It meant home. It meant someone cared. The human child hesitated. This toy was his favorite. He slept with it, held it when he was scared. Giving it away felt like losing a piece of himself. But when he looked at the alien child again, that choice became easy, because the alien looked more scared than he had ever been. And humans had a strange habit. They gave away comfort before weapons. He placed the toy on the floor slowly, every movement careful, every breath controlled. He stepped back to show trust, not knowing trust could be dangerous. The silence after felt loud. The station hummed like it was waking from sleep. Old lights flickered. The human child did not notice. He was watching only the alien. The alien child did not reach for the toy. Not yet. That worried the human. Had he done something wrong? Had he broken some unknown rule? The human child raised his hand slightly, palms out, a universal human sign. I mean no harm. I am not your enemy. He smiled again, soft, unsure. Not a hero smile. Just a child hoping he made the right choice. The kind of smile that had ended fights before they began. Deep inside the station, systems whispered to each other. Old protocols stirred. Signals looked for answers. The human child heard none of it. Humans rarely noticed the moment danger was born. The alien child finally moved. Just a little. Claws touching the floor. Eyes locked on the toy. The human child held his breath. This moment felt bigger than it should have been, like standing at the edge of something unseen. The human child felt a strange chill. Not fear, but importance. As if the universe was watching. Far away, beyond human space, something answered. A signal that should never have been sent. A call that was older than war itself. The human child did not know this, but kindness had just crossed a dangerous line. The human child took another slow step back, giving space, giving choice. That was how humans solved problems. They allowed others to decide. He glanced once toward the hall behind him, thinking of his father, thinking he should return soon, thinking this would be a simple story later. A strange child, a strange place. He did not know this moment would change how the galaxy spoke about humans. He did not know warriors were already listening. He only knew one thing. No child should sit alone in the dark. Not if he could help it. The alien child's claws hovered over the toy. The air felt tight. The station lights brightened just a little. And somewhere in the deep void, 500 distant hearts began to stir. The alien child did not know he was breaking a law older than his people's wars. He only knew the toy was warm in a way metal never was. Its colors were faded, but they felt alive. Slowly, carefully, he touched it. The moment his claws made contact, something deep inside the station responded. Hidden systems that had slept for centuries woke up. Not with noise, not with alarms, but with purpose. The alien child flinched as a soft vibration passed through the floor. His training returned in fragments. Gifts were never simple. Acceptance was never harmless. Every bond carried weight. In his culture, a gift taken from another species was a signal. It meant trust given under witness of the stars. It meant protection was required. It meant the child was no longer alone. It meant guardians would answer. The alien child did not remember the full lesson. He was too young when the elders taught it. War came before wisdom settled. Now only instinct guided him, and instinct told him to hold the toy close. The human child felt a sudden change. The air seemed thicker. The silence felt wrong, like the pause before thunder. He did not know why his skin prickled. Lights along the walls blinked once, then again. Symbols older than human language glowed faintly. The human child stepped back without thinking, a quiet warning rising in his chest. Deep within the station core, a beacon activated. Its signal was ancient, encrypted, and absolute. It did not ask questions. It did not explain. It only declared one truth. A child of the bloodline has accepted a bond. The child is vulnerable. Protection is required. All sworn warriors must answer. No exception. The signal left the station at the speed of light. It crossed dead systems and burning stars. It passed through territories that feared the alien race. It carried only one meaning: defend the child. Far away, on a warforged world, a warrior paused mid-training. His blade stopped in the air. He felt the call in his bones. Not as sound, but as duty. He dropped to one knee without knowing why. On another world, a commander woke from sleep. His eyes snapped open. Ancient symbols burned across his vision. He did not question them. He began issuing orders. Ships that had not moved in decades powered up. Engines roared back to life. War banners unfolded in silence. 500 warriors felt the same pull. A child had been claimed. Back on the station, the alien child sensed none of this clearly. He only felt a strange calm. For the first time since the war, he did not feel completely alone. The toy rested against his chest like a promise. The human child noticed the alien's posture change. Less fear. Less tension. Something like relief. That should have felt good. Instead, the human felt a quiet dread. Because relief did not belong in abandoned war stations. He glanced again at the glowing symbols. They looked nothing like warning signs. They looked like summons. The human child took a slow step back. Then another. He did not run. Running would look like threat. But instinct whispered that he should leave soon. The alien child looked up. Eyes no longer wide with fear, but shining with something else. Hope mixed with ancient certainty. He did not understand it himself. In his culture, when a child accepted a bond, he became a point of honor, an unbreakable line. Anyone near him became part of the equation. Friend or foe. The human child smiled again softly, trying to keep the moment calm, trying to pretend nothing had changed. But the station continued to wake. Systems unlocking one by one. A low hum spread through the walls. Not loud enough to alarm, but steady enough to mean intent. The human child finally turned, deciding it was time to go. He took only 3 steps before stopping, because the alien child spoke, not with words, but with a small, uncertain sound, a sound of connection. The human child turned back, confused. He did not know this sound was recorded, logged and transmitted, added to the beacon as confirmation. The bond was complete. Somewhere beyond human space, 500 ships aligned their course. Weapons powered, not in anger, but in duty. Their target was not Earth. Not yet. Their target was the child. The mistake was already made. Kindness had been translated into a command, and the galaxy was about to respond. Across the deep void, far beyond human maps, the first warrior opened his eyes. He was not young, and he was not gentle. Scars crossed his armor and his skin. Each mark was earned in battle. Yet the moment the signal reached him, his rage turned into focus. The call did not use sound. It moved through blood, memory, and oath. Every warrior of his kind carried it. A command older than empires. A rule written before their first war. A child has accepted a bond. The child is exposed. Protection is required. The warrior dropped to one knee. Not in weakness, but in honor. Around him, others did the same. Training halls went silent. On another world, engines began to wake. Ships carved from black alloy unlocked their restraints. Weapon systems tested themselves without instruction. This was not panic. This was tradition. Commanders rose from stone thrones and metal chambers. They did not argue. They did not ask who the enemy was. That question came later. First came movement. 500 warriors answered the call. Some were veterans of a dozen wars. Some had never lost a single fight. Some had sworn never to leave their home again. Every one of them changed course. Their ships moved as one. Silent, precise, unstoppable. Banners of old clans unfolded in space. Symbols that made entire systems surrender without battle. The galaxy noticed. On trade routes and listening posts, whispers spread. The child signal has been activated. Protection fleets are moving. No one knew where, but everyone knew what it meant. When these warriors moved together, worlds burned or bowed. There was no middle path. No negotiation once they arrived. Only judgment. Inside the lead vessel, the High Guardian stood still. His armor was heavy with history. His eyes burned with cold purpose. He remembered the last time this signal had been used. An entire civilization had vanished afterward. He did not enjoy that memory, but he accepted it, because warriors did not choose comfort. They chose duty, and duty had spoken again. The High Guardian reviewed the signal data. Location locked. Bond confirmed. Unknown species nearby. Potential threat level undetermined. Unknown was dangerous. Unknown invited caution, but not delay. Delay could cost a child's life, and that was unforgivable. Orders spread through the fleet without words. Weapons would remain silent unless challenged. Scanners would sweep everything. If resistance appeared, it would be erased. As the fleet accelerated, space bent around them. Stars stretched into pale lines. Time itself seemed to step aside. This was not travel. This was pursuit. Back on the abandoned station, the alien child felt a strange warmth. He did not see the ships. He did not hear the engines. But something ancient wrapped around him. Like unseen arms standing guard, the human child had already begun to retreat down the hall. He felt the change without understanding it. The station no longer felt empty. It felt watched, as if invisible eyes had opened everywhere. Old defense turrets unlocked their housings, not aiming at the human, but tracking space beyond the walls. The station recognized its people, and prepared to serve them again. Far from there, the warriors closed the distance. Each carried their own thoughts. Some imagined an enemy army. Some imagined traitors. None imagined a human child with a toy. That idea did not fit their universe. Their history taught them only one truth. Children were protected by strength, not by kindness, not by mercy. As the fleet crossed into the edge of human space, alarms began to ring. Sensors screamed warnings to commanders on distant stations. Unknown warships detected. Massive formation. Weapons signatures beyond known limits. On Earth and its colonies, fear spread quickly. Defense lines activated. Command centers filled with voices. Old battle plans were pulled from archives. Humanity prepared for the worst. None of them knew the real reason. None of them understood the cause. A small act had awakened a giant, and 500 warriors were coming. Not for conquest, but for a child. The first warning reached Earth before the ships were visible. Long-range sensors screamed about mass and power beyond known limits. 500 objects moving together. Perfect formation. No broadcast, no demand, no threat. In the command center, voices rose fast. Screens filled with red markers. Defense officers called out numbers and trajectories. Some hands hovered over weapon controls. History had taught humans to expect the worst. But the senior commander did not shout. He raised one hand slowly, and the room fell quiet, because humans had learned something costly over time. Fear made bad choices faster. Hold fire, he said, calm and firm. No hostile action detected. No shots fired. We observe before we react. That rule saved worlds before. The fleet continued its approach. Too organized to be random. Too controlled to be panic. This was not a raid. This was purpose. Analysts worked fast, comparing signatures, matching energy patterns to old alien records. One name appeared again and again. A warrior culture feared across centuries. Silence followed that discovery. Some officers swallowed hard. Others clenched their fists. That species did not move unless something sacred was at stake. And sacred usually meant blood. The commander leaned closer to the screen. Find the reason, he said. Wars do not start without cause. Something happened. And we need to know what. Teams split instantly, scanning nearby systems, reviewing recent missions, checking civilian movements. Every small detail mattered now. On a smaller screen, a junior analyst hesitated, then raised her hand. I have something, she said carefully, her voice shaking just a little. She did not like what she saw. Footage appeared. An old station feed. Low quality, partial angles. Two figures facing each other. One human, one alien. The room leaned in. No one spoke. The human child was easy to recognize. Missing from a survey group earlier that day. Found safe later. The alien child looked smaller than expected. Not a warrior. Not armed. Just alone. That detail changed the air in the room. The footage continued, showing the toy. Placed gently on the floor. Pushed forward. No aggression, no threat. Then data layered over the image. Energy spikes. Ancient signal codes activating. A bond protocol. Long forgotten by most species. Understanding hit the room, like cold water. This was not an attack. This was a response. The warriors were not coming for Earth. They were coming for the child. And the human, someone whispered. Because proximity mattered in old rules. Because witnesses mattered. Because kindness had rules too. Even across stars. The commander exhaled slowly. No weapons, he repeated. If we fire, we confirm their fear. If we panic, we invite war. We meet them as humans. Orders changed instantly. Defense fleets powered down weapons. Medical teams stood by instead. Diplomats were called from sleep. And one small boy was brought forward. The human child sat quietly in a waiting room. Feet not touching the floor. Holding nothing now. His pocket empty. He did not know why so many adults looked worried. A woman knelt in front of him. Spoke gently. Asked about the station. About the alien child. About the toy. The boy answered simply. He was lonely. He looked scared. I wanted to help. No speech, no hero words. That answer sealed the decision. Humans had many flaws. But they understood this kind of logic. They had followed it since caves and fires. Protect the small. As the alien fleet entered visual range, massive shapes filled the sky. Cities watched in silence. Children were pulled close. The world waited. The human ships moved forward slowly. Not blocking. Not retreating. Just present. A quiet line in space. No weapons charged. No warning sent. Only an open channel. Carrying a single message. We are here to talk. Inside the lead alien vessel, warriors noticed a difference. No fear spikes. No attack patterns. No defensive formations tightening. This confused them. They had expected resistance. They had prepared for slaughter if needed. Instead, they saw calm. A dangerous thing in battle logic. Because calm meant confidence. The High Guardian studied the human response. They do not hide, he said. They do not threaten. They do not run. Interesting. Back on the station, the alien child held the toy close. Feeling safe without knowing why. The ancient system confirmed one truth. The bonded child was unharmed. For now, the warriors slowed their advance. Just slightly. Enough to signal restraint. Enough to test the humans. The next moment would decide everything. The alien fleet stopped just beyond the edge of human space. Not close enough to threaten. Not far enough to retreat. It was a pause filled with meaning. The kind that decided history. Inside the lead vessel, the High Guardian studied the open human channel. No demands. No lies detected. Only a steady signal waiting to be answered. That alone was unusual. Warriors expected fear. Fear made enemies predictable. Fear made mistakes easy to punish. But calm created questions. And questions slowed the blade. The High Guardian raised one hand. The fleet mirrored him instantly. Weapons stayed powered but silent. Scanners focused inward now. Toward the bonded child signal. The truth came in fragments at first. Environmental data from the station. Life signs steady. Stress levels dropping. No signs of pursuit or capture. Then the image arrived. A clearer reconstruction pulled from ancient beacons. Two children facing each other. One small and alien. One human and unarmed. The warriors leaned closer to their displays. This did not fit their expectations. The human child was not dominant. Not threatening. Not commanding anything. The High Guardian watched the moment again. The toy placed on the floor. The step back. The open hands. His grip tightened on the armrest. This is not conquest, he said slowly. This is not trickery. This is... He paused, searching for the word. An offering. That word carried weight among his people. Offerings were sacred. They were never made lightly. They were never made by accident. Except this one was. On Earth, the human delegation moved forward. A single shuttle. No escort weapons. Only shields and open channels. At its center sat the human child. The decision was not easy. Some argued it was too dangerous. Others said it was reckless. But humanity had chosen its path. Truth over fear. The shuttle crossed the gap slowly. Space felt heavy around it. 500 alien ships watched. Not aiming. Just observing. When the shuttle doors opened inside the alien hangar, silence fell. Warriors lined the walls. Towering, scarred, deadly. The human child looked very small. He did not cry. He did not hide. He held his hands together, as if ready to apologize or explain. The alien child was brought forward next, still holding the toy. Eyes brighter now. Posture calmer. Protected by rules older than fleets. The moment the two children saw each other, something changed in the room. Tension cracked. Not fully broken, but weakened. The alien child made a soft sound again. the same one that completed the bond. This time it was clearer, recorded by every warrior present. A signal of safety. The High Guardian stepped down from his platform. Each step echoed like judgment. He stopped before the human child, looked down, and waited. The human child spoke first, his voice quiet but steady. I did not want him to be alone. He looked sad. That is all. No defense. No excuse. No demand for praise. Just truth. Simple and complete. The alien child lifted the toy slightly, as if showing proof, as if saying this is what saved me. The warriors felt something shift inside them, a feeling they rarely allowed. The High Guardian closed his eyes briefly, accessing memory vaults. Ancient teachings long ignored. Stories from before endless war. Stories about why they protected children. We misunderstood, he said at last. The words carried through the hangar, through the fleet, through the listening galaxy. We assumed threat where there was care. A ripple passed through the warriors. Confusion, then realization, then something like respect. Slow and heavy. The High Guardian turned to the human commanders, watching remotely. Your child acted without knowledge, but not without honor. That mistake awakened us and taught us. He raised his blade, not an attack, but reversed, point down, a gesture unseen by humans before. 500 warriors followed, metal and light moving together, kneeling, not to earth, but to the idea they had forgotten. The galaxy recorded the moment, not as surrender, but as recognition. Humanity had not won with force, but with kindness mistaken for weakness. The truth was clear now. The bond was never about war. It was about protection, and humanity had already fulfilled it, without knowing the rules. The kneeling of 500 warriors changed the balance of the galaxy. Not with fire, not with blood, but with silence heavy enough to bend history. No one watching would ever forget it. Human command center stayed quiet. No cheers, no victory calls. Humans understood something important in that moment. This was not a win. It was a turning point, a rare one. The kind that only happened when someone chose restraint instead of power. The kind that could not be forced, only earned. The High Guardian rose slowly, his blade still reversed, his voice steady but different now. Less sharp, more thoughtful. We came prepared for war, he said. We found something older. We found a reminder. Strength without mercy destroys itself. Mankind has shown us mercy without fear. Those words spread fast, across alien fleets, across human worlds, across neutral systems listening in silence. The message was simple and dangerous. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the oldest. They were not the most advanced. But they protected without being asked. And that made them unpredictable. The alien child was placed under joint protection. Not hidden, not taken away, but cared for openly. As a symbol, the human child stood beside him. A little uncomfortable, a little tired. Still not understanding why so many eyes followed him. Still just a child. When asked what he wanted, he answered simply, I hope he is not lonely anymore. That sentence traveled further than any fleet, because it carried no ambition. An alliance was formed without signatures, without demands, without threats. It was built on a shared understanding. Children mattered more than pride. The warriors withdrew slowly, their ships turning away from Earth, not in defeat, but in respect. Their banners dimmed, not lowered. As they left, trade routes reopened, border tensions eased. Old enemies paused and reconsidered. Because if warriors like these listened to humans, then humans were worth listening to. On Earth, life returned to normal quickly. Humans were like that. They remembered, but they moved forward. They did not build statues for every moment. Still, one small object was placed in a quiet museum. The toy, chipped, faded, simple, displayed behind clear glass. Not labeled as a weapon. Its plaque read only one line. Kindness began here. Visitors often stood longer than expected, trying to understand how something so small could stop something so large. The human child grew older, as all children do. He forgot details, forgot faces, but never forgot the feeling. The alien child grew stronger, trained, protected, but taught something new alongside battle skills. That trust could exist before strength. Years later, when humans entered galactic councils, they were not greeted with fear. They were greeted with caution mixed with curiosity. Stories followed them. Stories about a child and a toy. Other species began to watch humans differently. Not just as fighters, not just as traitors, but as protectors who acted without waiting for permission. That reputation spread fast, and when future conflicts came, when lines were drawn and fleets gathered, there was always a pause when humans arrived, because somewhere in every species' memory, they remembered the kneeling warriors. They remembered that humans did not win that day. They remembered humans refused to lose themselves. They remembered strength could look gentle, and danger could look kind. In a galaxy filled with conquerors and kings, humanity was remembered for something else. They were remembered as the species that offered comfort first, even when it was a mistake, especially when it was a mistake, because in the end, the galaxy did not fear humanity for its weapons. It feared them for their choice, the choice to protect without being asked, and that was power no empire could control.